This is a second part to my last video in which I really want to emphasize the understanding of Krishna Tattva, the truth and reality of Sri Krishna, because in general, within humanity, we have a conception of God, and that conception is understood through different religious cultures. That understanding is very generalized. So God is perceived as the great omniscient being. Within Christianity, perhaps he is seen as the ancient one, the old man with the beard in the throne, right? Who is judging and either angry or blessing, But to go beyond these conceptions, we have a great spiritual science which delineates God, the Supreme Being. Bhagavan is the term used in Sanskrit, and the breakdown of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his personal, eternal feature, transcendental feature, and all the manifestations thereof, which are known as avatars, and various expansions from the original form. So just as one candle can light many candles, still there is that original candle. Ishvara Paramakrishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarvakarna Karnam. Krishna is known as the supreme and original personality of Godhead, from which all other incarnations emanate. Now, if we look at our map here for a moment, this is the cosmic manifestation of material worlds and the demarcation zone of the Viraj River, the Brahma Jyoti, the great white effulgence of God, which is the conception of God for a lot of religions, is that God is the omnipotent white light that cannot be penetrated. It is the presence of divinity. But to go beyond that blinding effulgence of the radiance of God's feature, we penetrate that into a very variegated and diversified world of the spiritual reality. So in the middle section here is Vaikuntha Loka, also known as all the planetary systems, which are have a Vishnu form upon them as the presiding deity, and all lovers of God who penetrate beyond the Brahma Jyoti and go to the eternal spiritual world reside on one of these various planets, worshiping God in awe and reverence. But beyond the mood of awe and reverence is a most sacred and internal comprehension of God in this very personal feature of Sri Krishna, who has residing with his eternal consort, Srimati Radhika. The divine couple, Sri Radha and Krishna, are forever enjoying their loving, intimate pastimes in Goloka Vrindavan, which is a 1,000-petaled lotus. It is described, you can keep here and I'll describe something about Goloka. The spiritual place of transcendental pastimes of Krishna is portrayed here. The super excellent station of Krishna, which is known as Gokul, has thousands of petals and a corolla like that of a lotus sprouted from a part of his infinitary aspect, the whirl of the leaves being the actual abode of Krishna. The whirl of that transcendental lotus is the realm wherein dwells Krishna. It is a hexagonal figure, the abode of the indwelling predominated and predominating aspects of the Absolute. Like a diamond, the central supporting figure of self-luminous Krishna stands as the transcendental source of all potencies. The holy name, consisting of 18 transcendental letters, is manifested in a hexagonal figure with sixfold divisions. So all sacred geometry exists and originates here from this supreme moiety, the personality of Godhead. All of creation is expansions of expansions of expansions of sacred geometrical forms which are divine in nature. Reading from several different Vedic texts here, for material creation, Lord Krishna's plenary expansion assumes 3 Vishnus. The first one, Mahavishnu, also known as Karnadakashayi Vishnu, is the supreme form that expands all material universes. As he breathes in and out, these are manifested as cosmic bubbles or golden eggs. The second expansion here, known as Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, enters into all the universes to create diversities in each of them. And so here he is, manifested in one singular universe, floating upon the Garbhodak ocean, which is transcendental perspiration. Then you have here Kshirodakashayi Vishnu. This form, the third aspect, is diversified as the super soul in all the universes and is known as Paramatma. So this Kshirodakashayi Vishnu actually resides on the pole star, also known as Dhruva Loka in the Vedic texts. The pole star is very significant. If we can come over to this graph here and zoom in, what you have here is all the stars and planets are dangling as a chandelier over the planisphere of Bhumandala. Bhumandala actually has Earth. Our Earth planet or Earth plane exists at the base of Sumeru Mountain. Sumeru Mountain is a great extended on another dimension, which you could say emanates at the north pole of our spheroid or our plane that we live on. And upon the top of Mount Sumeru, all the demigods reside. Dhruva Loka, known as the pole star, we all have heard of and know of the pole star. It is fixed in its position, and it is known as a spiritual planet within the material cosmic domain of this particular universe. On that planet resides a form of Kshirodakashayi Vishnu. All the different stars and planets are here positioned above this great Bhumandala plane. There's so much detail here, and we've gone into it in different videos. So what I'm focusing on now are the expansions of the forms of Sri Krishna in his different avatar manifestations. The original personality of Krishna, known as his Swayam Roop, this is Krishna in his sweet, youthful, beautiful form, playing a flute and existing as a cowherd boy in Vrindavan. Vrindavan is a transcendental, eternal reality where all of us can enjoy in our relationships to this Supreme Person. He has the next expansion, Swayam Prakash, is his own expansions where he either multiplies himself as many times as necessary to enjoy rasa dances with the gopi damsels or with his 16,108 wives in Dwarka. Perhaps some of you have heard of the ancient land of Dwarka, which has been found off the west coast of India. This is an abode of Sri Krishna's when he manifests himself here 5,000 years ago on this planet to perform his transcendental, wonderful leelas and pastimes to attract the conditioned souls to his personal feature. The whole purpose of all these avatars of God is for one reason, well, for several reasons, but one, so that he can enjoy his own creation and attract all the living entities which he has created and bring them back into enjoyment with him. Why are we here? Because we have, through free will, decided to enjoy separately from God, and therefore this material creation is constructed to allow us to exploit our own desires in attempting to enjoy separately from God. But ultimately we find that frustrating and not completely satisfying. So it is the nature of the soul to be in union and loving service with God. So God is so merciful that he comes in all these different avatar forms, which are very playful and fun forms. Some of them seem rather scary and perhaps almost violent, but in the material world, violence is one form of rasa, which conditioned souls might enjoy interacting in at times. So Krishna's expansions continue through all these what I will call spiritual scientific terms. Tad ekatma rupa, when his form and transcendental emotions are differently manifested. All the Vishnu forms are delineated, why and how they break down. The Svamsa, the personal expansions, the Purusha avatars, Karno, Dakashayi, Vishnu, the three different Vishnus that we just mentioned, Karno, Dakashayi, Garbhodakashayi, Shirodakashayi, Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan. Avesh, a living entity who is specifically empowered by the Lord with knowledge or strength. So these Avesh avatars come into the material world as empowered agents of God. Jesus Christ, also our beloved Srila Prabhupada, so many different messiahs and missionaries, saints who come as empowered agents of God to again remind us of this transcendental nature of reality. So I will conclude with a few more verses. Ete chamsakala pumsa Krishnas tu Bhagavan Svayam. All avatars beginning with Rama and Nrsimha are the parts and parts of the parts of the Supreme Person Bhagavan. However, only Sri Krishna is the original Svayam Bhagavan. So we've spoken some about the unlimited expansions of Sri Krishna and how Sri Krishna is Svayam Rup, or the original form of all forms of Godhead. And we've also spoken about the different expansions of Vishnu, say the three primary expansions, from Karnadakashayi Vishnu to Garbhodakashayi Vishnu to Shirodakashayi Vishnu, and the importance that those three play. Now we'll speak about three other potencies, which are known as, this is a general breakdown of Krishna in his internal potency, is all of his transcendental power, and the internal potency of God, or of Krishna, is that of his personal feature, all of his associates, all of his spiritual reality, and then you have the external energy. The external energy acts on like autopilot. It is material nature. And within material nature, you have the three modes of material nature: ignorance, passion, and goodness. Rajagun, Tamagun, Sattvagun. The external energy of God is just that. Although it is very much God's personal energy, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, by this external energy or material nature, although it is going on and the living entity is caught in it, performing activities of karma, there is only one way to transcend or go beyond the clutches or binding effects of this material energy, and that is to turn our face once again to the Supreme Being, to Sri Krishna, and acknowledge that God is the source of all these energies, and that by performing devotional service or service with loving aptitude, compassion, gratitude, then the binding nature of the external energy can release us from its clutches. Maya Shakti, Maya, Durga Devi, she is in charge of keeping the living entities trapped within the material cosmic domain. And from one life to the next, we are going from higher planets to lower planets, and everywhere in between, as if on a Ferris wheel, transmigrating. The eternal soul is lost in this phantasmagoria, or the matrix, if you will, and unable to find the way out. The clarity for the way out of this creation comes through the avatar forms and the representatives of God who come as Guru, the enlightened ones, who can then open our eyes and show us with a beam of light the way out of this material creation, which is through surrender of the soul and loving devotion to God. So I'll read a few verses here. Krishna has unlimited potencies. They are divided into three main parts: the spiritual energy, the material energy, and the marginal energy. So the marginal energy is the living entity. We are in between. We're called Tatashta Shakti. We're likened unto the beach. You have the great ocean, this would be the internal energy. You have the land, the external energy. But that marginal place would be the beach. It's not quite water or land, it's in between. So this marginal energy is how the living entity, the eternal spiritual spark, is created. We are part of God in quantity and quality. Same in quality as God, but in quantity we are minute. So we are part and parcel of God. God is great, we are small, but we are composed of that same substance. And so we can easily be overcome by the external energy. Maya Shakti overwhelms us and we become illusioned. And therefore we are trapped within the matrix of material creation, in this illusion of thinking ourselves to be these temporary bodies, and that we have this one life, and that there is no God, and that we are simply caught in this hard struggle for existence. And it's dog eat dog, and top dog wins. And greed, lust, avarice, all these qualities manifest in the material world. Where in the spiritual reality, none of these inharmonious qualities exist, but only in their purest form of loving exchange. So, however, the internal energy is the Lord's personal energy and is superior to the other two. Now I will go to another verse. This one: I worship that Parabrahma, that supreme Brahman, whose crown is decorated with a peacock feather, whose large forehead is marked with tilak of musk, whose shark-shaped earrings swing around his neck, whose eyes resemble lotus flowers, whose neck has 3 lines like a conch shell, whose lotus face is graced with a gentle smile, who holds a flute to his bimba fruit-like lips, whose bodily complexion is like that of a fresh monsoon cloud, who is supremely peaceful, who stands in a delightful threefold bending posture, whose yellow cloth is resplendent like the rays of the sun, who is adorned with a victory flower garland, who is surrounded on all sides by hundreds of gopis, and who resides in Sri Dham Vrindavan in the guise as a cowherd. So this comes from an ancient text and a particular song called the Stava Kalpadruma. This is a description of the Satchidananda body of Bhagavan Sri Krishna. Satchidananda means Sat, eternality, Chit, knowledge, and Ananda, bliss. Satchidananda Vigraha. This is the form of Sri Krishna. His form is full of eternality, knowledge, and bliss, unlimitedly. And his qualities are limitless. Shakti Tattva, Krishna performs everything by his unlimited potencies. So, although Sri Bhagavan is non-different from his inconceivable transcendental potency, Parashakti, he has his own independent nature and desires. His Parashakti consists of three aspects: Chit Shakti, the spiritual potency; Jiva Shakti, marginal potency; and Maya Shakti, external potency. And he always inspires them to engage in their respective functions. That Paratattva, supreme absolute truth, even while performing all these activities, still remains immutable and is eternally situated in the fully transcendental Svarup of his own glory. So this is an important thing to keep in mind, is that even though Sri Krishna has all these unlimited things, tasks to perform, they are performed automatically through his energies. So one might ask, oh, God is so busy monitoring the activities of every living being and the cosmic creation and the functioning of everything. How can he possibly do all that? Well, Sri Krishna, in the form of his cowherd boy transcendental feature, is enjoying in Vrindavan forests, herding his cows, playing with his mother and father and his brother and all of his innumerable friends and girlfriends. And these activities are undisturbed by all the going-ons of the material creation. He is able to have all things function exactly as needed and properly through all of his extensions, which means all of his expansions, and the demigods, 33 million of them, participate in the functioning and proper order of all of these activities as well. So just pulling yourself back and having that bigger perspective of how God is capable of these things, his Svarup Shakti, or his Hladini Shakti, the pleasure potency of God, is truly what inspires Krishna. Just as there is Maya Shakti in this material world, which covers the living entity, in the spiritual world there is Yoga Maya. This is a form of covering that even God appreciates, that he can forget himself to be God, the supreme controller, and actually enjoy everything as the youthful, beautiful, playful, sometimes naughty cowherd boy of Vrindavan. So this can be described through many glorious pastimes and activities of Krishna, and that is for further study. But it is one of the potencies of God in which he himself forgets his own divinity and allows himself to be the perfect rascal and joyful, playful personality that he is. The Supreme Lord has nothing to do, and no one is found to be equal to or greater than him. His Parashakti, supreme potency, expands in multifarious ways by which everything is done naturally and spontaneously, providing him full knowledge, power, and pastimes. Sri Krishna says, "My Prakriti, Maya Shakti, is the creator of this world of moving and non-moving entities. Under its rule, this manifestation is created and annihilated again and again." The divine energy of mine, this divine energy of mine, he says in Bhagavad Gita, consisting of the three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome, but those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. I don't know what other... So we have discussed the internal, external, and marginal potencies. And now to go into another category within the internal potency of the Supreme Transcendental Person is a threefold breakup of the internal, or division of the internal energies called Hladini, Sandini, and Samvit. Krishna's Swarup Shakti, internal potency, has three different forms. Satchidananda Maya Krishnara Swarup, Atta Eva Swarup Shakti, Hayatina Rup. The original form of Lord Krishna is Satchidananda, the transcendental form of eternality, knowledge, and bliss. Therefore, his Swarup Shakti, or personal potency, the internal potency, has three different forms. The three portions of the spiritual potency are called Hladini, the bliss portion, Sandini, the eternity or existential portion, and Samvit, the knowledge portion. We accept knowledge of these as full knowledge of the Supreme Lord. O Lord, you are the support of everything. The three attributes, Hladini, Sandini, and Samvit, exist in you as one spiritual energy. But the material modes, which cause happiness, misery, and a mixture of the two, do not exist in you, for you have no material qualities. So that verse is referring to the external energy, which is known as the material modes. It says it doesn't exist in him. It is one of his energies, but it's externalized so that he doesn't have to mess with it. I'm going to continue here. The potency called Hladini gives Krishna transcendental pleasure. Through this pleasure potency, Krishna personally tastes all kinds of spiritual pleasure. There is no difference between the energetic and energy, the potent and the potency, the powerful and the power. Shaktiman Sri Krishna and Shakti Srimati Radhika. So the Sanskrit term Shaktiman means the powerhouse. Just as there is electrical energy which flows from a powerhouse, that electrical energy goes anywhere and everywhere it needs to bring electricity and power to the activities and workings of things. Neither of them can exist without the other. So Krishna, the predominating male deity, is known as Shaktiman, the energetic source. And yet the flow of the energy which goes out and manifests all things is the Shakti. She is also the pleasure-giving potency to Sri Krishna. So Radha and Krishna are inherently non-different, yet they manifest in two forms just to taste the ras of their loving pastimes. They are one soul in two bodies. So someone may be concerned, oh, this is just another religion that is male dominated, the masculine hierarchy. However, this is not ultimately true. Spirit, you could say, is neither male nor female, but it is spiritual, and it is not limited by being neither male nor female. So this Supreme Person, who is also known as Purush, this is categorized as male energy, but it is completely balanced and nurtured by the Prakriti, material nature or the feminine energy. Purusha and Prakriti. Perhaps you have heard these terms. These are Sanskrit terms. The Supreme Being and the material energy. All living entities, even though we're Tatashta Shakti, marginal potency, we are considered Prakriti. We are considered feminine objects of love to this, in harmony with the Supreme Being. So there is the supreme dominating masculine aspect, but it does not function. It is dysfunctional without the balance of the feminine energy. And that Shakti, the Supreme Shakti, the Parashakti, Sri Radha, who is the supermost emblem of all Shaktis, all different aspects and divisions of the feminine energy that are diluted down as Lakshmi, as Ramadevi, the goddess of fortune, Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and then you have Maya Devi. She is the shadow potency of Sri Radha. Her job is to keep conditioned souls within illusion, and yet her pure feature is that of the Supreme Shakti of Radha. So just as Krishna has his many avatars and expansions and a form of a form of a form, so Sri Radha similarly has these expansions, and she is the supreme original Parashakti form. Sri Radha is the full power, and Lord Krishna is the possessor of full power. The two are not different, as evidenced by the revealed scriptures. They are indeed the same, just as musk and its scent are inseparable, or as fire and its heat are non-different. Thus Sri Radha and Sri Krishna are one, yet they have taken two forms to enjoy the mellows of pastimes, such as the Rasa Lila, and their eternal, daily, loving pastimes. I will conclude here, for we have opened a new chapter to delve deeper into. Thank you for joining me on this journey of Bhakti Yoga. Radhe.